What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy. And as we start off every episode, that's with gratitude. Just want to say thank you to everybody that supports anything we do, any of our courses, any of our merch, like, the By the Hood shirts, the hats, the everything. You know what I mean? All of our students, man, special salute to you because you guys keep us busy and it's amazing. And everybody that shares all of our content on social media, our social media following is growing. And that wasn't even our objective, but now it's amazing, man. So I just want to say thank you, a genuine thank you. And I'm joined as always by my partner, Corey. Corey, how are you, good brother?
Living La Vida Loca, Jim. How's everything with you, man?
Man, I can't complain. Ain't nobody listening, man. But listen, our platform is used to highlight brothers and sisters who are doing amazing work. We have one of our Abakuas sisters in the building, and we definitely want to highlight her story, let her talk about what she has going on. She's known as the Black Day Trader, but we have Leslie Richardson in the building. Leslie, how are you?
All right. I can't complain at all. Like you said, nobody's listening anyway.
There you go. So, they call you the Black Day Trader, but tell the people, where you're from originally, and we'll get into what you got going on now, but where are you from originally? Where'd you go to school?
From Atlantic City, New Jersey. I got my bachelor's degree from Thomas Edison State College in Trenton, New Jersey via their online program. And then I got my master's degree at Lincoln University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Are you actually from Atlantic City or like one of them like Pleasantville cats that claim Atlantic City?
Nah, born and raised in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Not offshore as we call it.
Yeah, I know. I used to be in AC. I had a crib on Monroe Avenue, right?
West side?
No. So it's like soon as you we can get into this later offline. I don't want to spend too much time doing my geography, but I had a crib on Monroe Avenue.
Messages Sylvia Donahue. 15 minutes until
You know what I mean?
valuable information is shared.
It was AC. It wasn't like, so I know how cats used to fraud that was from like, as you say, offshore. But anyway, so AC got your degree there. So let me ask you this. When you were going to school back then, were investing in stocks something you were interested in at that time, or what was your major?
My major was human services. Well, my major in undergrad was business administration with a concentration in management. And then I kind of got derailed from my goals and ended up with a master's degree in human services. But I feel like the two combined make me a really dynamic individual because I understand people and I understand business.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
That is pretty dope. So in terms of investing, was that something that you were exposed to when you were a kid at all?
When my children were younger, we had open college funds for them, 529 plans. But my interest in trading came up when my first daughter, who's now 22, was an infant. I must have seen a movie or a show or something back in like 1998. And I was like, damn, I want that lifestyle. That looks like the perfect job for me. But I was living in the Stanley Homes Village in Atlantic City at that time. And when I looked at my surroundings and my social circle, nobody knew what trading was. Nobody knew how to get into the stock market at that time. And it wasn't accessible as it is now that the internet has expanded the way it has.
That's an interesting story because I tell people often about my first the first stock purchase I ever made, which was back in like 96, 97, somewhere around there. And it's like it was so completely different than it is now. People don't recognize just how easy it is to get into the game and how it's the best time. Like right now is the greatest time in the world to be an investor, right? Because outside of just the social circle, trades were like $50 a trade. And this is just the 90s. It's not like we're talking about going back to the 50s or 60s. It's the 90s. You know what I mean? Like, so it's interesting to hear you tell that part of your story. So we mentioned that you are a member of the Abakuas. Corey and I both have went through the Abakuas courses. And shout out to James because what James put together is amazing. And the network is amazing.
All facts.
Yeah. So salute to James. But how did you get put down with the Abakuas? Who did you meet and who showed you the ropes in terms of that?
I can't remember how I met James or befriended him on Facebook, but that's how it started. And I would just watch him and watch his posts. And I'm kind of outspoken and I might say anything to anybody, but I had it in the back of my mind, like, I'm going to tread lightly around this man. And I'm not quite sure why, but I'm not going to purposely say anything to offend him. And I want to say about 2014, maybe, Forex became the new craze on Facebook. It was all these different Forex classes and Forex gurus. So I paid for about $500 Forex classes. And I would do well, and I would take 2 steps forward and 1 step back with the profit. And one morning I traded NFP and I lost like $12,000 in a matter of seconds. And then I was like, let me go see what this old dude talking about. So I started harassing him with all these questions like, well, how much money your people making? And what's the ROI? And I know he was like, man, if you don't get out of here with that. But having had that experience of being able to make that tremendous profit in such a short period of time with Forex and then lose it just as quickly, I wanted to know, did I have that same potential learning the stuff that he was teaching? Because I'm a fast money type of individual. That's a part of my background. It's like fast money. But somehow we managed to meet in the middle. And I signed up for the Abakuas when it was like $20 a week or $20 a month or whatever it was. And I was one of those people that took like 2 years to finish the course. So you're looking at like 2017 probably. And then I took the Bitcoin course and I just kept on progressing with him. And now it's to the point where nothing that he's ever told me has been wrong. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of this year, I kind of squashed my ego and just started to talk about the results that I was having as a result of my association with James and the Abakuas. And since then, we built a tremendous team. And based on those experiences that I had early on, when we weren't the humongous network that we are now, and there weren't all of those supports and different people that look like us that we could reach out to ask questions, I've just tried to fill holes in the program, and create an experience that increases the success rates for my team.
That's amazing.
That's gangster.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you said right there. First off, you talked about people that look like us. I think that's one of the more powerful things about the Abakuas program is that everybody looks like us, right? And just the conversations online are changed. So we talk a lot of times about seeing who you're around offline, but that same thing applies online, especially our social lives have moved so much online that you need to be careful of who you associate yourself with even online. You know what I mean? And also you talked about how, you're outspoken and that's what makes you amazing, like, to be friends with on social media, because you'll go from the day trading to like offering your opinion about anything. So I just want to give you credit for that. So
thank you so much.
Because you will say anything, but that's dope though.
It's just my truth. And, people respond to it. And one of the reasons why I do that is because I feel like it helps me to weed out those people who are not for me or who I'm not for. And then who's left are the people who I can really make moves with.
And that's an amazing lesson that I'm still still learning, right? It's still a work in progress, right? I'll give you an example. So we have like a huge email list, people that sign up at buythehood.com. We have a huge email list. And if I send out like a email and someone unsubscribes, I get so pissed. And but one of my business partners was like, listen, man, he said, when people unsubscribe, you want to get rid of them anyway, because they weren't going to really follow or do business with you anyway. So that's a good thing. And you're right about that. You weed people out by being your authentic self. So you have to be your authentic self, and you're going to weed people out that wouldn't be there anyway. Mm-hmm. The question I have for people that, discover how the market works and start to see big returns. We know you're not afraid to put money up. We can tell by that Forex trade that you ain't afraid to go for it, right? So, and I've seen some of the results that you post in terms of your trade. So you out here, doing amazing work. But what was that moment when it clicked to you and you finally realized like how investing works, right? Because I call it a matrix moment. We go through life, we work jobs, we do all these things, and you make an investment and then you realize like, hold on, I just made income without having to physically do something. What was that moment like for you when you realized how it worked?
I think it's kind of unique for me because my background is a little complex. My father was an entrepreneur. My grandfather owned a business, passed it on to my father. Him and my uncle and my aunt ran it. So I've always had that experience of being a part of a family business, working for a family business, and then the benefit of being able to quit anywhere at any time and then just go back and always have a job. So that was a part of it. And then the other part of it is like I have that entrepreneurial spirit myself.
Mhm.
So I can remember 2-3 years ago sitting at this corner right here at the light, a block and a half from my house. And I was making good money before Donald Trump got inaugurated. I was making like $30,000-$40,000 a month in a wholesale broker kind of business. But it was a lot of work. I would sometimes work 12, 16, 18-hour days. And sitting at that light right out there, I was like, the only thing that makes sense is to go in this house and trade. And I was still kind of slow. I had started to accumulate some cryptocurrency and stuff at that time. I had started to fund my circle of 20. But because I had that traumatizing experience with that $12,000, and then it was $18,000 in the account. So, after you blow the 12, now you revenge trading. So it ended up being $18,000.
Man, listen. Hold on. Let's slow down right there, right? Because let's talk about that.
Wait, hold on. After that morning, that was like 7 o'clock in the morning, NFP, I shut the door on my office and I didn't go back in my office for 2 years.
Listen, let's talk about revenge trading, right? We got to explain that to people watching this because the most difficult thing about investing is the emotional or the mental part of it. So if you make a trade or you lose money, even with an investment, it don't have to be a trade. You get into revenge mode where instead of following what works, you get into like, I got to get back.
Desperation.
And man, listen, that's the worst thing you could do. So I just want to slow down real quick with that for anyone watching.
Yeah, I know that feeling very well. I had to take that feeling. I had to take that feeling out. I set my trades up and they either win or they lose. I had to take the emotion out of my trades because I'm high strung like she is. So I set a win ratio and a loss and a loss ratio. I know what I'm gonna win or I'm gonna lose before I even trade.
But it's crazy, right? Because it's like you talked about this before. It's like playing chess, and someone takes your piece, and then you forget about the whole game. You just like chasing them. You start chasing them down. Yeah. So that's interesting, right? And shout out to I kind of read between the lines with your wholesale business. I let that sit where it is, but but if you know, you know. But here's what I'm gonna say. So after that experience, right? You said your situation was unique, and when you had that epiphany that hey, this is something that actually works. What was it like when you had your first successful trade? We know that one hurt and set you back, but what was it when you had your first big trade and you realized I can make money doing this without having to, really have a job per se?
I had like successful trades, like I said before, with Forex trading. I would take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes I take 5 steps forward and 3 steps back. So I had the experience of successful trades and making profits, but it just wasn't consistent. And I felt like after all of that the thing that was missing was that I didn't really understand our economy like I should. If I had understood that morning what NFP was about and what was going on in the macro economy, then I probably would have either closed that trade or done something that I never do and like set a stop loss. So that's what prompted me to go see what James was really talking about, because I wanted to have that foundational understanding of the market before I tried to trade more derivatives of the market. And when I got to the point in the Abakuas course with stock options, I messaged James like, yo, I think this is going to be my baby right here. And he was like, all right. He probably heard that 1,000 times. And it just so happened that that's what it was. So through trial and error, when I got to the DMR course and I saw how that stuff was working, I was like, okay, let me go take this information now and drop some indicators and some stuff that I learned in Forex on the stock chart and see what happens. And the rest is history. And it
all came together.
Yeah, it started to amaze me. Like, oh shit, I can't. Let me see. Hold on. And I was like, come on, Chris, let me try to teach you this and see if it's a fluke or if I can really teach it to somebody else. And Chris had success. So then I taught somebody named Natasha, and she had success. And I'm like, okay, this is something that's duplicatable. And from there, it's just been like on a mission. We got an Abakuas team now, and it's like 110, 112 people over the last 6 months, and moving them forward into trading. Now, granted, my passion is really investing. Every night, I basically empty out my bank account and buy crypto and buy stock shares. But, one of the reasons why I'm able to do that is because I can trade.
That's dope. Use your trade to build up your long-term holdings, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what we're taught. But man, you dropped a lot of gems in there about learning about the overall economy and how that helps. Like, so you can understand how a trade works, but if you don't understand everything that's going on around you, that can be detrimental. Mm-hmm. So that's a bar. Corey, you had something you was getting ready to say?
I was just saying, like, I was just congratulating on building that team, like, because that's what when you start to regress lots of people forward all at the same time, that's when you can make progress. We talk about a lot about community and group progress, and that for me was the bar. Like, all right, I got a team of 110 gangsters. That means there's 110 families that can really move and shake different because now they got different information. So what I mean, that's a bar right there.
Absolutely, because the great thing about it, like we mentioned earlier, all those people look like us, right? So
right.
You're giving them a skill set, even if they don't practice it on a daily basis like you do. You're giving them the skill set where they can make money when they want to. Mm-hmm. And that's the great thing about trading, right? I tell people all the time that, like, you don't have to trade every day, but when you get that skill, you can do what you want to do.
When you want to do it. My thing now is I just want to trade Wednesday.
I never heard nobody say that. Like, why Wednesday? And, like,
patterns.
Okay, for your pattern. Got you. That's dope. I just want to make trades Wednesday and just chill the rest of the week. That's amazing.
But when you got the kind of skills she got, you can do whatever the hell you want. So Wednesdays it is.
Yeah. So a lot of my time is devoted to those 110 people that I talked about, and to making sure that they don't take 2 years to finish the course like I did, and just that they move through the program at like a pretty rapid pace and get to the point where I am. I tell all of them, you can be better than me. You should be better than me, because I've already taken the lumps and I can tell you how to maneuver around a lot of the things that slowed me up. So that's my goal. It's just to help as many people as I can. And that's what really got me behind it. After spending so much time with James and learning from him, I was like, how can you not share this with other people? That's real selfish. And nobody can be mad at you about sharing this with them. And to date, nobody that I've ever introduced to the Abakuas has ever had any complaints.
That's dope. That's dope.
And now I look at social media and I see other people from other teams and just other associations really being vocal about it. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's growing. It's amazing. And again, shout out to James. And for those that don't know who James is, you can go back in our podcast. He was actually on our podcast in an early episode, breaking down his objective of teaching people that looks like him the markets. And as you can see, this is one of his students who's having amazing success. And so we see your success because we're friends with you on social media. So we said we have to highlight you and talk about what it is you have going on, because now you're a teacher in yourself. You learn from a teacher, now you've become a teacher, which is amazing because you're giving back to so many people. So it's not just about the money you're making, but the fact is you're helping other people make money, which is even more gangster than just making money.
That's one of the things that I love that James said about the Abakuas, is like the only way you can make money in the Abakuas is to help other Black people make money.
That's dope. Absolutely. What's better than that, Corey? Nothing, right?
Nothing. What's better than one person making money too?
So let me ask you this, right? So along your journey to get to where you were to where you are now, what would you say is the biggest hurdle or something that you had to overcome to become the person you are right here today?
Great question. I would probably say prison.
Okay. I can see how that can get in the way.
I can see that,
right?
I can see how that would get in the way.
So yeah, I was one of those people that was very intelligent, had great potential, but because, like I told you, my father, basically my whole family was entrepreneurs, I was spoiled and I was used to always having everything that I wanted. And so I made some choices that put me in a situation where I did like 39 months in state prison in New Jersey. And it was one of those situations where I had seen so many people's lives be destroyed by that experience that it took a lot of resolve to not become one of those statistics. And that's how I ended up in human services. And that's why there was such a gap between my undergraduate and my master's degree. So like now one of my goals is to use this platform that I have to show other ex-offenders that there is life beyond prison, and there's life without being turned down for housing and begging for jobs, and the trauma of having to, or being re-traumatized by having to explain that situation. And for me, it was like 20 years ago. I was 21 years old, but having to re-explain that situation every time you sitting in front of somebody to try to be hired for them to pay you some measly penance for your work. So
man, that's powerful. You live in a whole ass movie out here, right?
Yeah. living a Hollywood life.
Yeah,
it's just transferable skills.
You broke it down to the simplest form.
Transferable skills. That's dope.
And that's not something that I share. And that's one of the things that I was debating about sharing, because I know that people would not expect to hear me say that. And people would not expect for that to have been part of my experience, especially because of my upbringing. My family's some of the most upstanding people in Atlantic City, but that's an experience that I had. And because of that, like I said, one of my goals is I've been trying to link up with reentry programs to help people who look like me to overcome all of the hurdles that are purposely placed in front of us once we allow them to label us.
Are you still in AC right now?
I live in Delco.
Okay, all right. So I want to be able to help you out with that, because Corey and I speak behind the wall to the youth and older people about so I know that they probably could put me with someone, or the female person that can help you do that, because that's always amazing, because one of the things Corey and I talk about all the time is when we go behind the wall to talk to people, they're some of the smartest people in the world.
Yeah, man.
And you hear their stories and it's like, oh, okay, never had opportunities, or it's a lot. I mean, we won't get into that, but the bottom line is, they're some of the most brilliant people that you'll meet, and sharing this kind of knowledge could definitely change their life and change their family's life. So, and thank you for sharing that too, because you're going to help somebody, right? Somebody's going to be listening to this, whether they're on Apple or watching the video, and you're going to inspire and help someone. So, and we had another gentleman who was on here before who had a similar situation, and now he owns a multi-million-dollar trucking company, and once he shared his story, he had so many people reach out to him, because it's like, man, now I feel like I have an opportunity. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, do you have any book, movie, or anything that has inspired you along your way that you want to share with our folks?
I thought about this when you kind of prepped me for it earlier, and a lot of my influence, as y'all probably know, is hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, and what I realized is I'm still having epiphanies about Robert Greene books.
Okay.
And one of the ones that was tremendous was 48 Laws.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that then.
Gotcha.
So like 20 years ago, and I'm still having epiphanies like, oh, that's where you apply this. Yeah. That's how you apply this. Not that petty stuff that we was doing before, but this is a business concept.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would say
that's true. Yeah. I have the same experience, right? Like one recently, like when it like never outshine the master, like, and I see this take place in just in the world and in business, and I'm like, okay, that was part of the 48 Laws. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. In fact, I just bought the 50th Law. I'm gonna try to read that.
I just looked. I'm about to order Mastery.
Okay, yeah. That's another Robert Greene book. That's another good one. That's a good one. That's a good book though. The 48 Laws of Power.
I wrote my my thesis to get out of college on the 48 Laws, so I'm super familiar with the concepts. Boy, he be talking that thing. He be saying the craziest stuff in that joint, but at the time I was like, man, this dude tripping. And now, being in business, like y'all said, it makes a lot more sense.
I like the way he tells a story though. He gives examples and things like that, so it's not just like. Sure. Yeah, it's not like, yo, you do this. It's like, here's a story behind it, and you tie it together. So that's an excellent choice right there. Excellent choice.
Another one I would say, and most people may not have heard of this, is a book called The Synchronicity Key. And that might be a stretch for a lot of people, but definitely get a copy of The Synchronicity.
Who's the author so we can put it on our book list?
Well, we'll figure it out because here we have a running book list called recommended books that we put in the notes of the show. Okay. We're going to add both of those books to that because you're the first person to ever mention The Synchronicity Key. So that's a new one. So that's a good one because, and it's funny because I don't know, she might be the first to ever mention the 48 Laws, although it's a very popular book. Almost everybody goes with the, and I don't even think it's cliche. I think it's true that it's changed so many lives, which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Because for a lot of people, that was their first experience in any sort of investing or mind, like, change their mindset or what have you. So But the synchronicity key, I know for a fact you're the first person to ever mention that one. So we definitely want to add that. So Leslie, with that being said, what do you want to do for the future? What's the future look like for you and your business?
So at this point where I am is I'm trying to build something that I can step away from, that can still function and achieve the same objectives, which I told you is like to just provide that enhanced Abakuas experience that helps our students to be as successful as they can and move through the system. Because it's just tremendous. There's so many ways for you. If you are passionate about the information, like I ended up being, there's so many ways for you to free yourself that I feel like if I can move people through that system and get them to see what I saw, then it'll be really life-changing for families and for communities. So my goal for this year, I guess for the next 12 months, is to teach 500 other Black people what I know about the stock market.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
then I want to step away, take a little break.
Go from your own employee to a CEO. Go from employee to CEO. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, that's dope.
And I'm in the process now of hiring my best friend, hiring my cousin, trying to hire my daughter, like actual payroll just to free them, because it's still work, but working for me is a lot different than working in a casino or, working wherever it is that my cousin's working. So trying to build something that will support other families, and then in such a way that, like I said, it's a system where if one of them wants to break off and go duplicate the system and help other families, they can.
Yeah, that's the power. That's the power of having a system. That's why systems are more important than when people are out here screaming about how hard they work. You got to get a system, right? I know you agree with that. Man, so listen, your story is amazing. I just want to say, first of all, congratulations on all the success that you have. And, we wish you nothing but more success and more wins. And thank you for sharing your story, because you're going to inspire someone, and that shows that you can do anything. Corey, you got anything you want to say?
I just want to say thanks for coming on. Nobody has to do, what you do for people. And so, the inspiration that you're showing is amazing. I want to say thank you. Like, I don't know no other words to say, because helping, people re-enter the world, that's a whole different setup. That's a whole different zone than, most people are comfortable going in. And so, with that, I would definitely like to say thank you.
Absolutely.
You guys for giving me a platform to talk about this stuff. And definitely let's link up and discuss how we can get this information to those people that I feel like need it more than anybody.
I promise you, we actually gonna reach out to some people and try to help you do that, because it is important. And the fact that you shared that part of your story, and you're willing to help others, let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. So
let me do some shameless plugs real quick.
Go ahead, absolutely.
All right, so my Abakuas team, some of the things that we include for our members in the core are like 24/7 live chat support, weekly webinars, which are things that you're not going to get like at 8 o'clock and 8:30. We have 2 webinars, a webinar for people in phase 5 and then a webinar for people in phase 1 through 4. Tomorrow we'll have our new member orientation. So we really added a lot of value to our program, like I said, to ensure people's success. So if you're interested in joining the Abakuas, I would, of course, suggest that you join Team Black Day Trader. And you can get more information about that at our website, theblackdaytrader.com. If you have questions about me, speaking, teaching, my technical analysis training, any of those things, you can email me at leslie@theblackdaytrader.com. And that's it. I thank you guys for inviting me.
And we're going to put your links and everything right in the show notes as well. We'll put the link to your social media, Instagram, what have you, and also your website. So if anybody wants to reach out to Leslie and see if she can help you out or whatever, or just tell her how you inspired or whatever, we're going to make sure that you have the ability to contact her. So
again, make sure you watch to the end so you can see what she said. So in case you a little bit illiterate on the reading part, you can you just watch to the end so she can tell you.
We didn't even talk about real estate. I forgot that.
Hey, listen. We can get into that too. We don't have to stop right now. We got a little bit more time left, because you're a real estate investor as well.
Yeah, so what happened was I was a therapist. Of course, I went to school to get my master in human services from Lincoln, and I worked as all kinds of therapists. I worked with sex offenders, ex-offenders, mental health, and I ended up in methadone. And people that I had worked with in previous, people I had worked with previous client bases or whatever were like, you're gonna hate that. And I was offended. Like, why would I hate it? How is it any different than anything else that we've done? And they were right. I hated it. And so I was working at the Kirkbride Center in Philadelphia, and I just made a decision like, this ain't it. And so I signed up for real estate school in New Jersey. I think it was in like Marlton, New Jersey. So I would commute from Delaware County to Philadelphia, work from 8 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock, I would drive over the bridge to New Jersey every day for like 2 weeks, or it might have been a 4-week class. I'm not sure. And when I finished that real estate license, I quit. And I had never sold I finished that real estate. I would be locked in my office making calls to sellers. And so I ended up doing some wholesaling. Within maybe 3 months of having my license, I got named the top listing agent at Keller Williams in Media, Pennsylvania, of all places.
Nice.
And anything I do, like, I really do it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, it's too much work.
That's the one on the main line, right? No, that's not. No, Media's not the main line.
No, Media.
It's a different one. No,
yeah,
I'm saying
Media,
that because
Media is out where I used to live at. That's
because I used to work for Keller Williams on the main. Well, I didn't work there. I had my license there for a minute, but that's either here nor there. Amazing training Keller Williams had, but yeah. I didn't know you had a real estate background as well.
Mm-hmm. So I bought my house, paid cash for my house, renovated the house in cash, and that's another experience that I can't wait to share with people. Like I just said on Facebook, you guys getting these loans, these EIDL loans, whatever they are. If you don't need them, let me show you how to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you how to buy a house.
Absolutely. And the thing about the real estate game is, what I try to teach people is how to combine the two, right? Combine the stock market with the real estate till you get to the point where your tenants are buying your portfolio for you. Exactly. And that's like that's the cheat code right there. That's the cheat code. So
absolute cheat code.
When you get that rent check, like your net worth is going up like 4 different ways. Like your net worth is going up because if you have a loan, they're paying that down. Whatever cash flow you have, right, is going to the market. So it's like every month your net worth is going up on the first, and that's the next level to learn to combine the two. But I didn't know you had that experience. Yo, you out here living a whole ass movie, yo.
Yeah, I'm just.
You gotta sit down. You gotta sit down and write this out. You got a whole. You're sitting on some other money.
One day, I want to put this book together, man.
Absolutely.
Trapper the Trader or something like that. And
Trapper the Trader, I like that. Listen, because you listen. Like I said, you live in a whole movie. But anyway, we're gonna put all your contact stuff in there. And we'll definitely have you back on, and maybe you can come on one of our Friday lives. Like next time, we'll come on live and talk to the people, answer some questions. But
absolutely.
We definitely gonna have you back on because we love your story. We love the fact that you're transparent, and the biggest thing, like Corey says, you're trying to help other people, and that's what we're all about. We're community first before anything else, and we see that you share that same sentiment. So much success to you, Leslie. You just want to say thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. And for those out there watching, make sure you share this video. Get in contact with Leslie if you need to. And, let us know how you feel about it. Let us know if there's anybody else you want us to talk to. Hit the like button, subscribe, all the good stuff that you're supposed to do when you listen to a podcast. You know what I mean? Because, again, our objective is to help the people and to share stories of people that look just like us, that are out here doing amazing things. So we're going to continue to bring those folks to you because there's an abundance of them. Whether you believe it or not, there are people that look like us that are doing just amazing things, and they come from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. So we're going to continue to highlight them. And, thanks to Leslie again. And as we always say, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much you keep. Game elevates, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.